and welcome to another episode of Schiffbauer Over Rocks. Today I got husband and wife duo, Chuck and Janet Sierk of Lancaster Estate Solutions and branch owners of EXP over in Lancaster.
Yeah.
So I'm really happy to have you guys on. Chuck, it's actually your birthday today.
Yep.
And when you scheduled this, you mentioned something to me a few weeks back at Smoky Bones about your birthday being around April when this is being shot. I'm like, I looked at your Facebook and then like the scheduling link earlier this week. I'm like, he's coming on his birthday. I'm like, we're going to have a good time then. I got to get the Knob Creek, and Janet wanted an espresso martini. Apparently, it's not bad, folks. She told me off camera.
Cheers.
But that being said, I know we're talking about Smoky Bones I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
One of the first times I met both of you wasn't at Smoky Bones, was at a similar networking event that you two host over in Lancaster. So just talk a little bit about that and then what you guys do from a real estate and estate solution standpoint.
Sure. So, Rockstar Connect Lancaster is a networking event that we started. We're coming up on 7 years.
Yeah.
That's crazy to think.
Yeah. In June, it'll be 7 years. We've been rocking the networking scene, to throw a pun in there, but it's a lifestyle for us. I mean, it's really important to us to be networking and making connections with other business owners.
Absolutely.
And it's the cool part about Rockstar Connect Lancaster is that it's free and it's just mix and mingle. I mean, there's the paid networking events where it's one person per category and those types of things. That has its place. Those referral groups have their place.
I was about to say they do. It's pros and cons.
Sure. I mean, because you're looking to find that tight knit circle of folks that like, and trust, and you're able to refer business to. But Rockstar Connect was a way for us to be able to have people come out where there's no specific expectations. Give people the opportunity to initiate relationships. And that's the key thing is a lot of people, there's so many different networks, there's so many different circles. And even if you look at the logo for Rockstar Connect, it's one big circle and branches out to these little circles, and it's where networks connect.
Mm-hmm. So, Janet, 7 years ago, was it you or Chuck who had the idea for this in terms of like the whole Rockstar Connect networking platform?
I think it was me.
I could see it. Mm-hmm. So what was your response when she brought it up?
So for Janet and I, we are the epitome of yin and yang, right? As far as personalities go and those types of things. And
that's why we make a good team.
Yeah, we learned about Rockstar Connect down at a marketing conference in North Carolina. We met the owners. It was part of that conference was actually going to an example event for one of the evening mixers for all the attendees of the conference to come together, and we were like, oh hell yeah, this is something that's absolutely fits us in our personality and how we like to do life. And I think that's one of the key important factors is you want to set your business up to where your lifestyle plugs straight into your business. And
over time, yeah, I definitely agree with you on that.
Yeah.
Designing it that way.
Otherwise, it becomes a chore. I mean,
no one wants to do chores.
No. And so when she heard the founder of Rockstar Connect, his name's Stephen David Elliott, down in Raleigh, North Carolina, when she heard his presentation at the conference and was like, the glow, she just lit up.
I'm a real estate agent that wasn't born and raised in Lancaster, right? So,
which is a whole interesting backstory. Like the fact that you're building a network up here with something you're not familiar with, at least. So.
I had to do it the hard way, right? You do those cold calls, you do the door knocking, but it's really nice being able to get referrals coming in just because you built those relationships. So I thought, this could be a really good opportunity to be able to connect with the community and be a part of a community, especially since I never really had that growing up because my dad was in the Army and I was born and raised in Germany.
Army brat.
Absolutely. And then moved around. So then, 12 years ago, we moved here to Lancaster.
2012.
Yeah. And I love Lancaster. I told Chuck I'm never moving. I love it here. it's a great place to put your roots down, raise our son. And yeah, I love it. It's a great vibe.
So how do you two get into real estate?
Interesting story. So,
Rich dad, poor dad.
yep, read the book in 2001. I mean, we met down in South Carolina where her father had retired from Fort Jackson, and I was in a corporate job, worked for Mack Trucks, and that was the .com bubble, right, back then. And I'm looking for something. I'm like, now wait a second, this corporate life, that's what I went to college for, and that's what this looks like. There's got to be something else. And I was walking through Barnes and Noble, didn't know anybody. I had all sorts of time to to read books, and it just looked at me off the shelf, and I said, okay, I'm getting that one.
That's before the book was really like popularized too, Chuck. In hindsight, it wasn't like.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like up until 10 years ago, people really started talking about it en masse.
Before HDTV, Flip This House, all of that. Before
Yeah, no,
any of that.
You're a decade prior.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Across stuff like this.
So I read the book. Actually, the first course that I was like, okay, how do I do this? How do I actually build a business? You know, because he talked about real estate in a business, but I was a car guy. I mean, I have a mechanical engineering degree.
I was to say, this man's a goddamn scientist, practically, folks.
It's more of from an engineering standpoint that it's, if there's a problem, let me figure out the solution. And when I read that, I got Motor Millions from Dean Graziosi, which is now a real estate. You know, he's a guru. He's one of those guys on the infomercials. But the infomercial I watched was Motor Millions on how to flip cars, which was right up my alley.
Brandon Motuck, who I had on here last year, similar story. He came across a commercial, not like Dean Graziani, but it was just like something like that spoke to him.
Yeah, it might have been the Ron LeGrand.
I think it might have been,
or the Creating Wealth with. There's a number of those old school real estate guys that were doing the infomercials, and yeah, it was absolutely. I mean, I was 24 years old. I'm like, there's got to be more to life than this. I had the spreadsheets. I had all my bills and all my payments all lined out. And I'm like, it's going to take me this many years at this salary to be able to pay off all of this debt that I built up.
Spreadsheets.
Oh, yeah.
But that's how you bought this.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, my first house flip
Yep.
There you go. Okay.
got me the girl. So 2002 was when I really dove in. I was like, well, I can fix cars. How hard can sticks and bricks be?
Well,
I'm sure you have a wealth of experience coming off that.
let me
But I'll
tell
tell
you, we
you
did it long and wrong.
Long and wrong is how I started. I mean, I was raised by my father. If you want it done right, you do it yourself. So when you're going to buy a house, fix it up. Well, I was a hands-on guy. I had built my Mustangs and done those types of things by myself. And so what was I going to do? I was going to fix the house myself. Yeah, that's
As
That's
long as
not
someone
how
fell
it-
through the floorboards and everything, that's okay. Okay, stop.
How were the walls in the house that you did?
I skim coated them 40 times because who was going to buy a house for $80,000 all fixed up in Shippensburg, Pennsylvania?
Oh, unless it's someone who's going to rent it out to
Unless
college
those
kids.
walls were perfectly smooth. But
So crazy.
never mind that the floors were like this.
Yeah.
I mean, the marble test is to check level. You couldn't beat that marble to the other side of the room.
Hey, it sold, so there you
Hey,
go.
there you go.
And it got the girl.
Picture perfect. So you started in doing these like, fixer flips in real estate. Janet joins the business at some point, I take it, here along this
Oh
journey.
yeah, I was a part of it, and I helped do drywall, paint, everything.
Really?
And then I was like, you know what? I like this real estate thing. So in '05 is when I got my real estate
Gotcha.
license.
Okay.
Because why pay somebody else
Yeah.
to sell it when, I mean, she was already slinging rocks. You know, she was selling jewelry. And
Like slinging rocks could mean a lot of different things. So thank you for providing context.
I wanted to clarify. She was selling jewelry.
That's gonna go over some people's heads, but hey,
Everything was above the table. It was legal for sure. But yeah, it's like a little bit of nudging. Say, hey, go get your real estate license, and you can be the agent. I can be the investor, and that's how we rolled for quite a while.
Yeah.
I got my license in 2018 because, around that time period, it was like, you know what? Let's go be that team. Let's be that husband and wife
we
team.
work well together. Get your license. And let me tell you, it's been amazing because anything I need, or if I can't get to it, or if I'm sick and I can't do a showing, boom, Chuck could do it for me because he's licensed. And it's been amazing. I love it.
And that's where yin and yang starts to really come together because she has skills working with people that I can't engineer, right? I'm very analytical and she's very intuitive. So being able to read people and understand exactly what it is that they're looking for and feeling those vibes, I always joke about if it's not nuts and bolts, I'm not picking up on it, but I have that little dot. I can sense that I have that intuition that I'm able to roll with. But no, when it comes to that, I let Janet take over.
yeah, no, that's good. You guys know, like you said, yin and yang strengths and weaknesses or differences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you two, husband and wife duo, where you're working directly, essentially together for years,
Yeah, we're coming up. I mean, we've been married for almost 21 years.
and then working essentially together the whole time
Yeah.
during that process.
I wouldn't say the whole time. I was working full time as an engineer, a manager, a project manager
True.
up until 2010.
Gotcha.
I worked again from 2013 through late 2017. So,
And then full time with real estate ever since.
yeah, so for
Gotcha.
at least the
Okay.
last 6 years, it's just been Chuck and Janet.
So how do you two? Because people have I think it's a hot bud topic right now. I've been seeing, and I think it's still gonna be resonant. Where like people are like work-life balance. How do you two leave the work behind and enjoy like a dinner together, or like enjoy time with your son, and just not think about that?
Somehow we're able to like flow and dance with Chuck and Janet married couple, Chuck and Janet business relationship, Chuck and Janet being parents of our son Charles Manuel. Very easily. It just comes natural to us. So being someone, like, people come up to us and say, like, how can you work together all the time? Like, it would get on my nerves if I was with, that's fine. There's different personality dynamics.
Oh, absolutely.
And I totally get that. But we just really love hanging out with each other. He's my best friend too.
And I think even outside, say it's not even a husband or wife, business partners, you have to enjoy your business partner if you're going to make it work long term. I'm a firm believer in that.
Sure.
Even if you're not like married, it's
But
just
see,
like
it's
that
fun.
dynamic. Exactly.
It's
like you
fun
said.
when we talk together about business ideas and stuff. I get a high on that. Like, it's so much fun. I love it. We love being creative and pushing each other and supporting each other.
I think that's a really great example. You two, it's just looking at it, any business relationship, you have to like each other, point blank.
I've seen recently, just what's shown up to me has been a number of people that are talking about if you're gonna have a partnership, you can't have similar strengths.
Yes and no. I think
But you have to have an understanding. But that's where the dot. Again, it's
you said it yourself in your own instance.
so you have to have an understanding of that. But like for me, I know my role.
Absolutely.
And when a transaction comes up or there's a specific issue that we need to work with a particular client, when it comes to the technical aspect, I've rehabbed a ton of houses. So I know, I can literally, it feels like I have x-ray vision. I know what's behind the walls you know, from
got Cyclops from X-Men over here.
based on the different generations of when houses were built. I understand it. The technical aspect,
the experience.
That's my role. But when it comes to judging what somebody's looking for and reading them and
Janet
where
feeling
their
out a
emotion,
little bit.
I can't read that level of not as deep as she can.
I respect Chuck. Like, I know Chuck is super, super smart, right? So sometimes I just shut my mouth and I listen to him, right? And then when it comes to being creative in certain things, because I love having fun with doing videos and marketing as another part of it. And I don't know, it's about respect. We respect each other.
Yeah.
We listen to each other and go from there. I'm not a know-it-all.
Oh, yeah. And I know this about you two off camera. I wanted to throw it out there today because I think it's really resonant for any business partnership. It's just like you got to, one, understand, like you said, strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah.
And you got to like each other and you got to have a little fun.
Oh yeah.
And I think it just boils down to that. And I think people just get so much head trash they're taught from other people where, oh, you can't have fun. You got to separate the business from your partner.
Listen, life is stressful already.
100%.
Right?
Yes.
So it's great that I'm able, because Chuck helps. I tell him all the time, you are my rock. You help ground me. Not to get all too woo.
I'm about to say, are we about to have an Oprah Winfrey couch moment?
It's almost like we could pick the rabbit hole and we could go, right? So, sorry, I cut you off.
No, I mean, I really didn't have much to say except for like, it's really nice to have a partner where you have fun with, and then also where you're able to share your frustrations and cry, you know? And, but at the same time, it's so important to have the right mindset.
Oh, 100%.
So if you want to go down a negative rabbit hole, it's great to have somebody else to pull
Take
you
it
out.
out. So this happen. People, it's just like we're people at the end of the day. Like, you know, and I'm always, one of the biggest things I've learned with like this dealing with people, because it's like client service, you two get it. It's sometimes when someone's acting a certain way, let's say it's a particular client you guys have. It's like, why are they acting like this way? It might not be me. Let's uncover what rabbit hole they're in, why they might be projecting the way they are, and have patience on the matter and figure out that dot, like you said.
You know, and everybody's routine and their natural how they respond to things is all based on their experiences in life.
Oh,
and
yes.
how they were raised, and there's no one person that has an identical experience as somebody else. So
That's key there.
Right?
Yeah.
So we all come from a different place, and we all have a different perspective on what's right and wrong. There's been some internet banter back and forth where, I mean, it is 2024. There's plenty of internet banter going on about life and how things work. So
I think at the end of the day, we're all living life for the first time, and people got to realize that.
Ooh, yes.
So you just said, Chuck, everyone is raised differently, has a different experience. They all have
a different perspective.
Our trauma, quote unquote, but everyone's got it. I don't care if you're the rich kid in the Rolls Royce who felt left out, or you know, didn't have a dime or dozen on the street. Everyone has pain. So it's just like we just try to understand each other. Don't let it be a crutch for ourselves.
But we also ingrain patterns of how we cope with based on how we went through that experience the first time. And,
even subconsciously, but not realizing it.
For sure.
Oh, we could go deep on that.
Oh, yeah. For sure. Are we about to have a Joe Rogan podcast, like a rabbit hole here, folks? No, it's a really good topic, though, because not enough people are talking about it in a fashion like this, other than an internet banter post real quick.
Yeah. So, tip for everybody watching. Read the book, Think and Grow Rich. Once a year at a minimum.
It's the reason why people have been talking about it for, I think, almost 100 years. Like, it has resonance. Multi-generational.
You know what's funny is I was going through it actually just the other morning, and I was reading the chapter where they talked about Charles Schwab going and actually working with J.P. Morgan, and they met in New York, and they're talking about creating the U.S. Steel Corporation, which was one of those mega corporations,
Yeah.
just saw, not even 2 weeks ago, it's literally, the deal is in the works for it, if it hasn't already sold, being sold to a Japanese company.
That's kind of wild to think.
December 12th, 1900 was when Charles Schwab made that presentation.
120 years.
To the room. Yep.
That's crazy.
Almost 125.
That's technically 6 generations.
Right.
Because I have to go back and finish it. The Fourth Turning. Have you, either of you heard about that?
No.
So it's a book. It's really fascinating. I think you would really like it.
Yeah.
Where it's these two like historians. It was published in the late 90s, where they talk about historical patterns generationally, where it's like it's a turning. Every 20 years, it's like essentially a generation. It's typically 4 generation cohorts, where even if you look through history, even as culture changes, these generations, like, one is still 80 years later, based on societal, dynamics. 2 is still 2, whatever you'd call boomers versus, the golden age or Gen X.
I mean, aren't we in this room just 3 generations, 3 different ones? All right, what are you?
I'm a lower tier millennial, technically.
Oh, okay. See,
Marty's an upper tier Zoomer.
oh, okay. See, there you go. I'm on the cusp.
So you're like an upper tier millennial.
Absolutely.
And then
And I'm a super young Gen X.
Gen
X.
X. You're at the bottom. Gen X.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's my 47th birthday today.
I knew your age. I remember we were talking last year. You're like, I thought you were like early mid 30s, and you're like, you thought the same thing for me. And I told you my age. You're like, get out.
So you have the wisdom, and I have the youthful look.
I had the hairline too with it.
You said it, not me.
Yeah, I'm self-aware with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really good. The coolest thing about that book, though, Chuck and Janet, and we'll get off that topic, is it was giving like slight predictions about the early 2000s. Eerily accurate. The projections based on like what they saw with the historical data.
Yeah. We'll stay away from that rabbit hole.
All right, we're
Right,
about to come out. So let's talk about real estate. So what are you guys doing right now? I know there's something really exciting going on with the Lancaster Estate Solutions that you guys have been working on.
So
Heck yeah.
based on my experience with a lot of, helping people through distressing situations, right? There's been a lot of properties that I've been able to purchase in order to renovate and resell on the retail market from estates, inherited properties, or folks that are looking to make that life transition into assisted living, retirement living, and they, there's deferred maintenance, there's outdated houses that we've been able to buy, and put a lot of that together through many of my different experiences. It's like, now wait a second. I was a professional project manager, and it's those types of life transitions are a huge project that many people don't have
Huge.
the understanding, the connections, the network to be able to help them get from the start to where they want to be, from where they are to where they want to go. And I said, we have the real estate specialty, but everything else that's linked to it, we need to be able to deal with the personal property. We need to put together an entire plan when they're settling an estate. You have the clock is ticking. There's certain time frames that you need to, save on inheritance taxes
People have no
estate
idea.
taxes and
Majority of people, like looking
No.
ahead towards the end.
No.
No one wants to.
So typically when in an estate plan, somebody will be identified as the executor of the estate. So they then have a fiduciary responsibility. They are in charge of making sure that the best interest of the estate is handled through managing the assets. Because let's face it, the state wants their taxes. They want to know how much is it worth, what's it going to be, give us that inheritance tax. It's an income stream for the state. But the executor is the executive person of the family that's in charge to make sure that everything is handled according to the rules.
No pressure.
And it's in the best interest of the estate.
I mean, it's such an emotional process,
There's assets, there's paper assets, there's personal assets, there's real assets. So real assets are real estate. Personal assets is all your stuff. If you got a toothbrush, you've got an estate. And that's what
crazy to think, but you're not wrong. It's property.
Right, because a lot of people think, oh, well, I don't have lions out at the street next to my mailbox and a long driveway that's tree lined to the columns in front of the house. That's what many people think of as an estate.
Or I don't
Every
have a
single
trust.
every single one of us has an estate. It's the stuff we own, and when you go through that estate settlement process, the legal term is called probate. When you go through that, it's the legal accounting of making sure that people that are owed money are taken care of, as well as, so you have to balance the books. It's a bookkeeping operation, assets, liabilities, everything's taken care of, and what's left over then is the inheritance based on what was written in the will. And if there's not a will, there's a legal succession of who gets what.
Yeah.
Right? So the executor, they may not have any experience in doing a lot of these types of things. So we're a consulting group to be able to help them either manage, identify. We'll lay out an entire plan for them. Here's step 1. Here's step 2. You want to focus on this, and we bring our entire solutions team to the table to help people go through all that personal property, find those things that are actually valuable. If they don't want them to be passed on as a legacy to their family, then we'll go ahead and let's find how we can go ahead and help them with their fiduciary responsibility and make sure that the estate is handled in a right way. We're basically an advocate for the executors so they don't have to carry the burden, because in many cases, like me,
I feel like over 90% of people have to carry on that burden as like the dependent, like a child.
Yeah.
Sure.
Or like a wife being labeled an executor.
Right.
And we customize the solutions for them.
It's just really, when you think about it, Chuck and Janet, like I've talked to you two, and I'm sure a lot of people out there, real estate in itself is in a very emotional process.
Absolutely.
Buying or
Sure.
selling a home
Yeah.
for
Sure.
good or bad reasons.
Sure. Now
But when
imagine it's the house you grew up in.
And then let's add a death component to it, or
Yeah.
someone's getting sick, and we have to like really think strategically what's going on.
Well, there's grief
It's
involved.
it's more intimate.
sure.
It's more intense than birth if you think about it. That's
Mm-hmm.
really this. Really, that's the business of like the most intimacy right there.
So
Yeah.
Chuck will sit down with the family and have a customized solution or
Yeah.
a customized plan.
Yeah.
And from there, we can help out as little or as much as the family
yeah.
needs us.
Yeah, because I mean, let's face it, we're in South Central PA. People are looking to make sure that they can DIY things. I grew up in
I
Eastern
get it.
Lancaster.
I'm in the marketing business. You know that. It's just like people like to DIY,
Sure,
for better or worse.
sure. But then they come to a point like, I don't know if I can make that jump. I don't have the ability to get across this issue. And that's where we can come in.
Exactly.
We have all of the experts
Here's
that
the
can handle
program.
those
Here's
situations.
this program, and you're
Yeah.
going to go through essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
we have
the
the
other deal.
experience.
We have the connections.
We have the connections.
Yeah.
And
So-
and the skills to be able to help people out.
And we have the real estate specialist.
Mm-hmm.
So we really lay out the different options, and we identify, here's what you're going to take away from each of these options. Here's the pros, here's the cons. You choose.
Yeah.
But a lot of people aren't looking at it from, let's call it an investor perspective, where there can be creativity and there's different options rather than the retail market, which then can be Janet.
Yeah.
You know,
So
but
I'm
we
the real
have-
estate expert, being able to give them all of the different options and what that looks like and how much she would net. You want to sell the house the way it is with everything in it if you want, and you just don't want to deal with it. This is what it will look like. This is how much you would net. You want to put it on the retail market? More than happy to give you those numbers, as well as you want to essentially flip your own house. We could do that as well.
Yeah. From
Yeah.
an option standpoint.
Or it's very popular in and around the area. Well, we inherited grandma's house. Well, when's the auction scheduled for?
Yeah.
We're going to sell the house on auction. We have the auctioneers. We actually have a bidding program to where we can actually help them and not pay any commissions, but still have it exposed to the retail market.
Where it's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah. So
At that point.
That's the
downsizing,
goal.
settling estates, senior
Yeah.
transitions, even including divorce. We can help out with all of that. Just the biggest transitions in life.
Because I feel like that's a misconception too. It's just like, oh, when grandma dies, like she's got to pay all this, or like if she got to go to the nursing home, she got to pay all this, and she's not gonna have any money left. No, if you're working with somebody who can give you a tailored program to your needs and what you can afford, you guys are literally the perfect avenue for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, we have
So-
we have all the experts available to be able to look at what is it that you're looking to do. I call it my Google Maps strategy. Where's the destination? Where do you want to go? What's your goal to this? And you've got the starting point. Well, Google Maps is going to tell you here's the fastest way to get
I like
there.
that. I use that with marketing talk in terms of I use a car analogy.
Here's the
how
toll
far you want to go.
Here's the toll-free route. Or if you want to take the scenic route and experience and go through
I'm about to
those
say,
memories
I should
and those
put the
types of
vodka in for
things.
Janet.
Yeah.
All good.
It's important to be able to have those options and choose the one that's the best fit for you and your family. So
No, I love it.
That's how we look at it.
Listen,
And
it's not easy. I mean, just how we honestly came about with this business, a part of it was when me, mom, and grandpa, which is Chuck's parents, they had to downsize. They had big house,
4,000
13
square
acres
feet.
of land, a big barn full of stuff because grandpa loves going to those auctions, right? And
This is an old like grandpa pop thing. They just love hoarding
oh
stuff.
yeah.
I mean, there were like 45 empty cardboard boxes saving for a rainy day. Oh, I might need that box someday.
Yeah. That's how this generation was.
Sure.
So we were here local to help them out.
And you saw it firsthand. You're essentially the guinea pig for this, it sounds like.
Oh, yeah.
Side note, that's a great from a brand narrative standpoint, telling your own experience for this.
It was huge. And we looked at each other and we're like, we have all the knowledge and experience and connections. And it was still difficult, right?
So yeah, how do you simplify for other people? Like you guys have your own experience and have a network before this solution kind of came to fruition.
So I just kicked into gear. It's like, okay, well, this goes first, this goes second, and we lined it up, and we were able to help them retire in paradise, literally. So they moved from
Paradise, like Paradise, Pennsylvania. Yeah.
yeah.
So we realized, this was a big project for us. How do other people do this?
And I think you touched on a great point. It said like your family, they like had a little property. They had like somewhat of like what people traditionally think as an estate. But I
Yeah.
love
Right.
what you mentioned,
Yep.
where if you
Yeah,
have
it was
property,
a farmette is probably a good description for it. Yeah.
you would think that they would have they would know or have some resources where to go. But like people with money don't necessarily know what to do when that time comes. I feel like.
Well, look at it this way. My dad was an engineer too. I mean, he's a smart guy.
Very.
Collected a lot of things, but he's in his late 70s. Cognitive decline happens.
Happens with
And
everybody.
actually, I mean,
And we're not helping ourselves drinking Knob Creek today, but hey.
well, yeah, for sure, but it's my birthday, so it's okay.
You're going to party like it's
See you birthday.
But then that's where, we start to come into the understanding of early stages of dementia. So there's not that get up and go, which I was able to, I was raised that way. It's like, if you're going to do it yourself. But Dad wasn't doing it himself. And it's
Yeah.
like, what's going on? And that's what drew us towards the Alzheimer's Association as
Okay.
well.
So a lot of people don't have family nearby to be able to help out. And if they
Most
do,
don't. Most don't.
they have their own lives. They're busy with doing other things.
It's not even they're being selfish otherwise. They have their own kids or
Absolutely. It's a huge project.
It's the sandwich generation. I'm now helping take care of my parents as well as taking care of my son.
Yeah.
I'm the meat in the sandwich.
It's very apparent for a lot of people. It's going to just get even bigger too, as that boomer generation gets older.
So
Fun.
12,000 people
Yeah.
every day are turning 65.
That is insane, folks. That
And-
might be the most mind-blowing stat on Schiffbauer Over Rocks history there.
So who holds all of the real estate?
And the wealth.
That 12,000 for the most part.
the baby boom generation, and
I love the memes,
the remaining silent generation. But I mean,
it's
let's
not few and
face
far
it.
between with them.
Let's face it. Many of the silent generation are already in retirement communities. But I mean, we're in the middle. We're in the middle of helping Bill and Audrey. Bill's 95 years old. Audrey's 89. They moved into their house in 1963. Their family, 4 boys. You know, it's helping them figure out, okay, you guys as a family need to sort out what it is that you want, and we need to be able to help them move on from their estate, liquidate personal property, real property, get them into the retirement community, and have it be good for the family so they don't have to stop their lives and do double duty.
And then I'm thinking you can need a hypothetical, Chuck and Janet. Just imagine like you have an older couple like that. Let's say one of them has dementia and Alzheimer's, and the other one is older. Mm-hmm. That relative that same age, it's just like I cannot imagine that burden. Mm-hmm. Where like they're trying to deal with their significant other. Mm-hmm. They're both getting senile.
Yeah.
And then they don't know how to navigate what's going on.
But here's the thing: if they do it themselves, whether
something's going to get
if they
completely left on the table.
But
absolutely.
It's not even their fault. It's just ignorance because they don't know, or just like there's too much going on.
It happens so often that we'll go into the dumpster and we'll pull out the valuable items that the family thought was junk. You know, so we want to make sure that they can maximize their opportunity for getting as much benefit to the family through inheritance, etc., because we have the experts.
But not only that, because we have a relationship with our solutions team, whether they do it themselves or if they do it, or if they have Chuck helping out, it's going to cost them the same. Mm-hmm. So why not have Chuck take care of everything?
Well, here, speed wins in many cases.
In almost any entrepreneurial endeavor, it does.
So, as an example, we had an estate last year. The executors, one lived in Boston, mm-hmm. one lived in Charleston, South Carolina. Mm-hmm. I mean, if they were going to stop their lives, you know, teenage kids, young kids.
They're not. And they really can't. It's just like if they're that young.
And deal with mom's house. Dad had already passed away.
That's rough.
It took them months. Remember that one lady? She decided to do it herself. She moved to Pennsylvania and did it herself, everything. And it took her
12 months, and she thought she would be here for
3, maybe
2 to
4.
3 months.
Yeah.
It took her 12 months because in her job, her busy season is from January until May. Well, she set up shop and she was living in mom's house to deal with all of mom's stuff.
It wasn't a 3-month vacation. It was a 12-month nightmare.
When you're working 15 to 16 hours a day, even though COVID allowed many people to be able to work from home in those type of administrative or financial positions.
It was a nightmare for her.
I asked her, I said, look, if we would have been able to connect early on, you know, would that have been a benefit? She says, knowing what I know now, absolutely. I made the wrong choice. We as
that's almost a testament in itself.
As the adult children should have outsourced this, because what's 12 months of property taxes? What's 12 months of
I think
utility?
Even more. What's 12 months of bullshit that you don't want to deal with? And you're reminded about this like grief every day coming up at you when you're trying to get over it one way or another.
And she was.
I think that's the biggest point of it.
Absolutely.
So it goes beyond that. I mean, she was going through a divorce.
Life. Yeah.
Her son had just graduated from college, and then her daughter graduated from high school and was starting college and was having a difficult time in North Carolina.
Yeah, it's a lot.
And she was here in Pennsylvania and not able to support her kids. Yeah. So our focus is lean on us to be able to help you manage your life, which basically goes on pause to take care of the life of the generations that have come before us.
We want to help people.
And we want to make sure that we honor those generations.
Absolutely.
When we're helping Bill and we're helping Audrey, they have they grew up in a different time. They lived in a different time.
It's getting that consideration, trust factor See if
there's
it's a good
different
fit for
things
them
that are
and you,
important to them,
which is fine.
which they need that reassurance that they can continue with their beliefs, with what's important to them, and we can get them to where they need to be respectfully.
And I'm totally hypothetical, but when you think about it, Chuck and Janet, like something like interfacing with you two, it's kind of like the last big decision they're going to make in their lives. When you think about it like
It's
that,
one of life's biggest transitions.
or it's just like not even an ego thing outright, but like it's probably subconscious with them. It's just like this is like the last decision I can make for myself here doing this.
I mean, they're going to assisted living.
You know, it's just
They're
like
just
this is
waiting
it.
for
It's the end
rooms
of the
that
road.
are adjoining.
Yeah.
Because it's one person per room. So Bill's gonna. Now they already sleep in different rooms, and that happens with many seniors. So, but we want to make sure that it's not a huge hurdle and a big disturbance in their life. We want to get them there smoothly, right?
And it's not like we're going to go there and disrupt everything and say, get rid of everything and this and that. No, we want to customize it and make it very
It works.
easy for them, you know? Because downsizing is not easy. There's a lot of things that they keep. Like, for example, one lady shared that she kept her baby, her kid's baby, what is it called? Mobile?
Yeah, the mobile that
Yeah.
has the spinning, the hanging things,
Thinking
plays
that
the music.
that their kids or grandkids are going to want it. But guess what? A lot of these kids don't want this stuff.
No.
Yeah, no, it's all good intentions. With like, I
Right.
remember my mom, grandmother before she passed, keeping all a hold of the stuff.
I talked to David yesterday. He lived in a house for 40 years with his wife. His wife was what some would we term as an amateur collector. So she had a lot of things. Some people may say hoarder, but
I like amateur collector better.
hoarding is a whole different thing,
That's an animal.
right? He's got a 2,500 square foot house with rooms that are packed full like a storage unit of things that were collected, and they have 3 storage units. He's by himself. He had a stroke 7 months ago,
Yeah.
and he has a second house up in State College. He's moving that direction. Come on, he's 75.
Yeah, you can't rebound.
As
Like that.
having had a stroke, he's gonna need some help to be able to get there.
Yeah.
And that's where our solutions team comes into play.
How do
We're
you
gonna go
transition
through-
efficiently to your terms? You know?
So we're going to go through. He's like, well, I need an auctioneer. Well, we need to sort out things first. Let's figure out how we can be efficient with this whole process and not
Maximize
end
the
up with a
profits.
lot of the extra stuff, because you're going to end up having to throw a number of those things away. We may have those collectors already on the team that we can be very efficient with it and net you more
Exactly.
than people coming to.
I mean, when
An
you
auction.
when you auction everything off, you're just getting pennies on the dollar, right? But if we got,
Typically, you take some kind of like loss leader,
absolutely,
in theory.
but we get those experts to say, "Hey, this is something of value. We can help you out with that."
It's almost like Pawn Stars. I'm kidding. I love that show.
I mean, an auctioneer's going to take. I mean, consignment's going to take 50%. Auctioneers have a specific percentage.
It depends on what they're selling or looking
25,
for.
35,
That
maybe
sounds about right.
40%. But if we can sell direct to a collector that's going to give a fair price and be able to remove things and clear things out in a very efficient way, then they're going to get to the right home for somebody who's looking for those items, because you're going to the collectors and or those specialty buyers. And that's where having a large solutions team.
And every year, we're always in like the top 3 with Lancaster of the top 3 places to retire. Right. So we don't just work in Lancaster County, surrounding areas, and then we're going to eventually help people nationwide with this too, with the State Solutions Pro.
Let's tie into that. But
Okay.
I was about to say, what are you guys most excited about? Because I know all
Yeah,
camera,
big plans.
You two are. So what's the dream for the Lancaster State Solutions to become something like
State
the
Solutions Pro.
So
Exactly.
those 12,000 people turning 65 every day.
That's a heavy stat that Janet shared earlier.
That's nationwide. That's nationwide. So, and we all understand that different regions have different cultures, different
Get the shoe
those
shine
types
in.
of things. Because there's, mean, there's Lancaster specific antiques, and being able to then help other people, help those folks in those same situations, literally creating a category in that estate planning industry as an estate solutions pro. So we're going nationwide to be able to help other folks be estate solutions pro in their local areas and do this nationwide. I've been coaching other agents and investors for
So it'll be like a
3
franchise
years
model.
now. It'll be a licensee model. We want to make sure that we can give them the format and what we've set up to be able to.
Has success and help
It
people.
comes down to marketing, right? I mean, how do you? I was having a conversation with a couple folks this week in our referral group, and we all live in obscurity, right? As business owners, the goal is, how do we get more people to understand
what we do.
what services and
how we can help you.
how we can provide them with value, right? So business owners live in obscurity unless they're famous. Now, so fame, right, being, if we talk about marketing, that's the whole game, is how many people know about you, right? It doesn't have to, we're not talking about Kardashian fame. We're talking about being local
based on
fame
even-
in a specific
even-
circle.
Not even local, Chuck and Janet, but like your target audience or demographic.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be famous or have visibility. I think that's a better word.
Yeah,
With these people.
that's right.
I want this visibility. When you're thinking about estate solutions, I'm thinking about Estate Solutions Pro, Lancaster Estate
Mm-hmm.
Solutions. Bam.
Exactly. So, and you said a very key word is how do we have that message to the right people?
Because
Right?
we invented a new type of business here.
You know, it's interesting where like there's folks who've done parts of what you share today and what I know about the model.
right.
Well, they haven't necessarily done all the nuts and bolts
Right.
of it.
And we've been lucky because of our experience and knowledge and connections. We're able to tie everything together.
I don't want to discount it, but there's
Don't discount it.
there's junk haulers. They're gonna clean things out.
Right.
You have
That's all they're
clean
good
out
for.
crews.
They're great, but like, that's all they're
you
good
got,
for.
You got 2 Chucks in a truck all over the place.
That's one of my favorite phrases.
Mine too, because I have a son named Charles.
Yes.
So we're literally going to be 2 Chucks,
2 Chucks
in a
in a
truck,
truck.
LLC. But you have that aspect to it, and you have professional organizers and folks that handle the personal property side. But you don't have somebody that's overseeing start to finish, including the real estate.
There's a
that
gap
whole
in any
transition.
previous models.
And that's really what we're bringing to the market.
Yeah, we
with-
want to help
with
other
Estate
people with their
Solutions Pro.
clients. You know?
So I have those project management methodologies. We put a whole entire system together to help people really manage it in an efficient way that respects and honors and advocates for the family to make that happen. But let's go back to the marketing. The targeting is super key, and I want to tie in EXP because from a retail real estate perspective, that's how we approach business, and I think that's our superpower as EXP Realty, is that we understand who is going to be the most opportune buyer for a seller's property, and we'll literally go in and identify these are going to be the most opportune buyers for a particular property, and that's what we go using marketing techniques to be able to reach out directly to those folks. It's not just stick a sign in the yard and hope and pray. You know,
I will often say, you might have heard me say before, I said hope is not a strategy.
Worryfreedownsizing.com.
yeah, that's for Lancaster Estate Solutions.
I
And
do like that URL though.
Thank you.
Go on.
yes, when we talk about 2024, I mean, what's happening in the real estate market? It's like when you go to Giant and you go to the whole milk section, and it's like there isn't a damn gallon in the fridge. Nothing. It's gone from the Giant brand. You got to get the
Perrydale or,
the
you know.
organic, or you're paying $7-8 a gallon.
for like some almost like top of the line stuff that you normally wouldn't buy because like the Giant brand was fine.
Yeah, go to the eggs. There's no regular large eggs. It's just the cage-free organic, super expensive eggs. The real estate market's the same. There's nothing on the shelf. Inventory is so low.
I know other agents say the same thing.
We have interest rates where they are.
Well, we got a solution for that.
We do. So
we got a solution for that.
So that's where we bring the off-market advantage to the table. So if you own a house, in order for you to sell your house, you have to have a place to live.
Correct.
It's the number one concern for anybody
when I'm transitioning
who wants
selling
to
this property.
sell. And
what's my action plan?
Well, they want to cash in on these high prices. It's supply and demand. So prices have never been this high before.
Never, no.
But they're like, well, I'm not going to move. I don't want to give up what I've got because there's nothing else to buy.
Unless they're downsizing or renting somewhere. It's just like they're just...
Even when downsizing.
So, working with Chuck and Janet at EXP, we're going to use that target marketing and we're going to go find exactly what it is that they're looking for off market. So, by doing that,
Proactive.
we're building out offmarketadvantage.com.
I like that. And I that's not this problem in this market, because I hear from other agents that I know, it's not going away anytime soon.
No.
It's going to be at least another 12 to 18, 24 months where you're going to have the same giant analogy that you gave, Chuck. That was a great example of it. That sums it up.
Yeah. I mean, there is more inventory coming to the market. We're in the month of April right now.
Well, people are trying
It's a standard seasonal, right? We're going to see those seasonal curves. Most properties, people are waiting for that spring market. They want to sell by June so they can move during the summer and have their kids, whether it's a new school district or not. But we go in and we look at each particular property and we identify, based on what your house is, these are going to be the most opportune buyers. They're going to be this age range. They're going to make this amount of money. This is what the age of what their kids are, and they're going to have pets, etc. Those types of things. So we're going to go off market and find those particular buyers and advertise to them through our marketing strategies. Secret sauce.
I don't know.
To be able to.
I don't know what the sauce is, but it's got to be pretty damn good.
To be able to go find those buyers to find that house. Now, if we're off market advantage, that means that if we can bring that buyer directly to those sellers, it's an opportunity where those buyers then are going to be able to pay top dollar because that's what they are looking for. So we can net our sellers the most. Now, when we look at it from a buyer's perspective, we also do the same thing to help find those. This is the property I'm looking for. Nothing's coming up in the catalog, right? The multiple listing service. When you list a property, that's the retail catalog. Well, we're gonna go find that and bring that to you directly and lay that at your feet, and you will be the only one talking to that seller.
So much competition right now.
So if we can avoid that competition and not have to bid against 9 other buyers, and we can find that seller for our buyer clients.
It just helps them at the end of the day. And you guys get those wins for them, and then you guys win in return as a service provider providing that value.
And that's the thing, is sticking a sign in the yard and hoping and praying is not providing value to a seller.
That's coaching, Marty.
Coaching a buyer to say, well, pray extra hard tonight and hope that tomorrow morning your perfect home shows up on the market. Why? Why would we do that? How is that helping our clients?
Well,
we're going to go find
Chuck,
them
you're on to something
what it is
bigger
that they want.
where I feel like the real estate industry is going to radically keep changing.
Yeah.
Where you guys are on the cusp of it and being aggressive and innovative, where these agents, even in the great in their own right, we're waiting for inventory, trying to find listings.
Yeah.
You cannot wait and sit because you see,
because it's going to cost you that much more. Interest rates could go up more.
Are automating. It's just getting rid of agents in the traditional sense, where you have to provide value like how you two are working to do something differential. You got to continue to innovate. Same thing in the marketing space.
Yes.
Because marketers, as a
don't-
whole,
you don't want to end up being a commodity.
correct.
And
And that real estate agents, you never thought it would be the case, but it's happening right now before our eyes.
there's a lot of commoditized.
Regardless if like, it's a
Agents.
relationship aspect of it, it is getting heavily commoditized real quick.
You want to have an agent that has the skills and the knowledge. Look, we are marketing experts with a Pennsylvania state real estate license. We just so happen to be able to be legally allowed to manage the transaction, but we are marketers and we will target exactly what it is that you're looking for. And that's the advantage of working with Chuck and Janet.
I like that. I know Marty signaled for last call a little bit ago. This will be an extended one, which I'm cool with. I want to take it back home for a second, and then I'll get your concluding thoughts from you two. This has been fun today.
Yeah.
But we met through networking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give me your do's and don'ts, because you guys have been networking, honestly, even longer than me, in hindsight.
Don't wing it.
Don't wing it, okay.
Just
what do you mean by
don't
that?
don't wing.
Have
First
a solid 30-second commercial.
Have
Yeah.
something to bring to the table, otherwise.
Yes, you want to make sure that it's not all about you,
No, it can never be
Right?
all about you.
Right.
but it's have some sort of intriguing story that's able to say, when somebody's dealing with this, what I do, because the number one question for networking is, what do you do? And
It's the goofy canned response, and we all get caught up in it.
I'm a real estate agent.
Come on.
There's one
Leave
and
me
a half-
alone. It's just like Exorcist X.
Right.
And then
So
the only thing worse is financial planners. Get away from me.
So if somebody asks me that question, it's like, how folks want to move into a different home,
Yeah.
but they're so scared to sell what they have because they can't find what they want? What I do is I go find exactly the perfect home for homeowners that are looking to make a move to the next property, right? So have something prepared. But also, if you're signed up for an event and you're able to see who the other participants are, and we do that for Rockstar Connect Lancaster, it's very important. You want to know who else has RSVP'd as either going and or interested. You want to go in and identify who you're looking to connect with.
Bingo. I love that.
You need to be
share that.
very strategic about your networking, because you can go out there, you can have a couple drinks and you have great conversations about the Yankees, the Eagles.
Nothing's
the
going to necessarily
whatever.
happen right then and there.
No,
Could
it's-
over time, but you got to go in intentional.
you have to have a business focus, but you're building rapport, building relationships, and schedule those one-to-one
Wants,
conversations
yes.
to where you
Absolutely.
can focus strictly on how can I help you.
You.
Here's the key, is you have to be willing to give in order to get.
Oh, I'm a firm believer of that. That's how I live my life.
So networking is not about
Me.
Yes.
We're speaking the same language.
You have to come in there and say, who can I help tonight?
Yes.
Who can I help connect to somebody else?
Who do I want to connect with? But more importantly, like you said, how can I help someone in the room?
We ask that question so many times. Every time we talk to someone, it's how can I
A
help
lot
you
of people
today?
I feel like are taken back by it when you ask wait, this person is asking about how they can better connect with me without even trying to sell me anything. Most people are in a good way. They're not used to that.
Keep your sales pitch in your back
Pocket. I'm a firm believer of that.
You need to understand, where is somebody coming from? Why are they here tonight? Why are they interested in building their network and meeting new people?
But at the same time, I love how the way we run Rockstar Connect Lancaster is about people first, business second.
Yep.
So when you come into our networking event, I'll give you a name tag and it's just your first name.
I know that you do that. I do that intentionally at other networking events, Janet, where they say fill out your information. I just put your company as Paul.
Yeah.
Just to, you just said. I want to keep it light.
Yeah.
And
Very, very
I'll
smart.
shout this. I'll shout
Because you need somebody to be curious about, hey, Paul.
I want to give a shout out, someone we know, a friend, but like a shared experience. He might laugh when he actually hears this, but I remember the first time I met Brian Almany. I was super light, top line, just told him what I did. He would have thought I was a fucking devil, but I knew there was a reason behind that because he had a terrible experience with marketers.
I'm very close with Brian, as you know.
And then I never hard sell him on anything.
Right.
And over time, we just build rapport.
Yeah.
He asked me some questions about marketing, and we just talk about it now.
You're great about building relationships.
So like, to me, I think it was very impressive over time. Where like he was like, he can say it. So I'm just calling it like his body language. I was the devil. They didn't know me from Adam, because of experience. He had really bad juju with other people.
That's the key. That's the key. But he's also skilled and has an understanding
Correct.
of marketing concepts with the desire to be able to tie all those concepts together into a system that's working well for him and his business. Right? And he's been able to do that, but it comes through those experiences.
So that's a great example for people out there. I didn't hard sell this guy. We built rapport where we're close now. He was a guest on this podcast that's going to be released here soon. It'll be released by the time this one releases.
Yeah.
But you don't hard sell people. You got to feel them out where they're at. And that was an extreme example where like I got it though once he opened up to me.
Well, you have that KLT factor, right? You need the know, like, and trust. So
I like
if
that.
you're
It's
meeting
good.
somebody for the first time, they may not know you from Adam, right? So you got to get to know each other and be likable in the process. So building rapport is going to be those personal type of conversations and finding those relatable things. The trust comes not in a first meeting. So why in the hell would you go into a networking event and try and put a sales pitch on somebody? You don't have the rapport. It's not the position or the spot.
I only talk offer or pricing if someone specifically and explicitly asks me first meeting, which is rare, unless like you just hit that vacuum where like they're looking for something like that right now.
I mean, if you have a low dollar product, right, that somebody knows and understands, you say, okay, well, I've got it for 50 cents cheaper, then you're playing the race to the bottom game.
You can't do
right?
that.
You're running discounts, those types of things. But in order for like what we do with real estate and what you do with marketing and consulting to help.
I gotta get to know more about you outside of this meeting. We could have an offer for you.
Oh my goodness.
Or like a recommended program top line, but let's have, like you said, the 101s.
They may not be a good fit, and
No.
we're not a fit for everybody.
I'm about to
Not
start-
everybody qualifies to be our clients.
I'm going to start implementing more like heavier intake, like almost like attitude, like altitude engagement. I'm getting to the point.
We
of
could
that.
make this a double length podcast. We can go deep on that as well.
That's why we got to do a follow up. We can do it over Lancaster offsite at some point.
Let's do it. Let's do it in our
We've got the
office.
studio.
Or
We
our
do it at
office.
the studio, or even we can do it like Stoner Grove for a Rockstar event. Whatever you guys want to do.
No, I would prefer to do it.
The office.
We have a media
I
studio.
know you
We
do.
have everything all.
I'm giving
built
you
up.
the floor.
Yeah,
until.
So,
I didn't know it was a lighter for like a couple months, to be honest with you, Janet.
right?
This?
Yeah, it looks
I
like
was
a little-
surprised when she hit the button. I was like, "Whoa, flame comes out of
It's
that!"
like an old like 60 Chains Bond, like almost gadget.
Oh, it's so cool. I mean, and that's part of the
It's not working
with
perfect. That's fine.
with Lancaster Estate
sorry.
Solutions, we get to see people's lives, right? The history of people's lives, and we go through it, and we get to see what's most important to them. We get to see
But you know what's
really
fun?
cool stuff.
Connecting with people that we like and trust, right? That brings value to me automatically as a real estate agent to be able to provide really great people that can help my clients that do a really good job for a fair price. And not only that, Chuck's there to make sure they're doing their job right, taking care of our clients, and all of that good stuff.
Yeah. And that's the power of networking, is being able to connect good people that provide great service to our community. I mean, let's face it. If you get a whole group together coming from any particular industry, we're literally building a network of everybody that can help our community live life well.
Yeah, to your own like shared network standards, morals, and ethics, and how you like to do business.
Absolutely.
Skip the Facebook post. Who do you have that does blah?
Blank.
Right?
I need a contractor that's affordable, folks.
We got a guy.
Oh, the favorite Facebook posts are, what real estate agent do you recommend? It's like
200 comments.
it's like you threw a cow in a piranha pond.
For real.
It's like, it
I know.
happens so fast.
That is the most comments ever on a post.
It is even more so than marketing. It's like
It's
real estate
the
by
most.
far the most like
The
convoluted
most.
because it's so broad, but the average person doesn't realize what they really need.
Right.
What are you looking to do?
Correct.
What's
Yeah.
important to you?
Yeah.
Why? Find the right fit for the people. And I mean, look, we've been running Rockstar Connect Lancaster second Thursday of every single month since 2017.
I know you shared some great tips. Janet, anything you want to add networking wise as we wrap up? Like any tips from your experience?
I want you to be yourself. I want you to really
It's so
connect
easy
with
said
someone.
and done, but like it's so real though.
I love how, people, when you meet someone, you think, oh, I probably don't vibe with this person. But if you really get to know them, you can respect their different vibe. And
Well, the key thing is that people show up in one way,
yeah,
and their true selves are maybe a little bit different than how they specifically show up. And
I think it's a subconscious thing, Chuck, where like we want to put on airs a little bit. Even if we want to be ourselves, we're a little nervous, like first impressions kind of thing, like first date kind of impressions, like you want to get the girl.
yeah.
And it's just like you're yourself, but like you're not like, I'm just going to say what I need to say. I'm going to script it. And then you get to know the person a little bit better.
yeah,
The biggest tip I can have for anybody, whether you're cold prospecting or if you're meeting somebody new for the first time, treat them like an old friend that you've never met.
yes, for sure.
Just be yourself and
Be
treat them
yourself.
no, literally is talk to them as if they're an old friend. It is fantastic. People's guard goes shoom, like, hey, because it's know, like, and trust. So get that like in there up front. And to be likable, it's just being yourself. Because if you don't connect with somebody,
Not everyone's going to connect
you're
with you.
going to navigate to somebody
right.
that does.
That's right. And that's why
But
I like to
it's-
invite other real estate agents as an example, right? I'm not a fit for everybody.
No,
There's
that's
different
really
personality
real.
types.
Because
So,
I have a residential real estate client in York. There's certain people I know he won't work best with, and vice versa. Just
Right.
like referral wise, you just got to look past that.
yeah.
Well, and there's people that we don't want to work with because
No,
we
it's
don't
just-
vibe with them.
It's just it's a real thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's healthy.
Huge.
Well, hey, any concluding thoughts? Like we've had a fun one today. What else you guys want to send off with? Any like final remarks?
Focus on lifting people up. It's
that.
very important to give first in order to get. It's the
Yes.
philosophy. Our referral group, the philosophy is givers gain. You will get so much more out of giving and helping others get from where they are to where they want to be. And that's really the core of how we approach business, how we approach networking. If other agents come to our networking event, it's like, who can we help you connect with?
Absolutely.
Because we can't help everybody in Lancaster
Nope,
County.
I
We
can't
can't
either.
help everybody in
No,
York.
it's just being self-awareness.
So
that
how
point.
can we help you, even if you are competitors to us in the same industry? We'd rather there be other good agents that we can make sure are able to help our community live life well. So lift people up. That's the big key.
I like that. Janet, anything you want to add to that?
No, I think he hit the nail on the head.
That might be the title of the episode. I don't know about that, but
Hitting the nail on the head.
it sounds like a clickbait, but good clickbait.
You're a marketing guy, so you need to get that.
Oh, we've had
That
some good
hook.
titles.
You need to have that hook,
But
right?
thank you.
Yeah,
It's been fun.
absolutely, brother. Appreciate
Do the
you.
same thing to you. Boom. Chuck and Janet, it's been a pleasure. We'll do a follow-up at some point. Take care, everybody.